Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends of gold, it is with great pleasure that I'm presenting you the 18th edition of our annual In Gold We Trust report. It has been a standout year for gold so far, with gold soaring to new all-time highs in basically every currency. The title of this year's report is The New Gold Playbook. We highlight the significant changes that the gold world is experiencing and look into how you, as a prudent investor, may want to reconsider your strategy to protect and to grow your wealth in the years to come. Before we present the highlights of this year's In Gold We Trust report, we would like to thank our fabulous team and premium partners. Year after year, the In Gold We Trust report strives to be the world's most comprehensive and the most widely recognized analysis of gold. Our aim is to publish the gold standard of gold research. And over the last 18 years, it has become a huge undertaking. And it would not be possible without the support of my fabulous team of 20 people working on 4 continents. Together, we worked more than 20,000 hours over the last couple of months. We have been researching, writing, crunching numbers, preparing hundreds of charts, translating, perfecting the layout, and preparing the media work for the In Gold We Trust report. Now, finally, we are pleased to present you the result of this year's work. So thank you to the whole In Gold We Trust team. You are the best. And it would not be possible to publish the In Gold We Trust report and make it available free of charge in English, German, Mandarin, and Spanish, to publish 14 chart books per year, as well as a number of special reports, without the support of our premium partners, the creme de la creme of the gold industry. Thank you very much to our premium partners. Now, I'm pleased to present you the highlights from this year's In Gold We Trust report, titled The New Gold Playbook. In last year's report, titled Showdown, we described the showdown in monetary policy, the showdown between East and the West, and also the showdown in the gold market. This year, we emphasize the permanent impact of structural changes that have shaped not only the gold market, but also the financial and monetary system, as well as the geopolitical landscape. You might ask yourself, why is there a chessboard on the cover of the new report? Well, small changes sometimes make a big impact. For instance, at the end of the 15th century, a far-reaching change was made to the rules of chess. The queen, which until then only had been allowed to move 1 square at a time, was given freedom of movement and could now move any numbers of squares diagonally, vertically, and horizontally. Thus, the queen became the most powerful piece. This change was referred to as Mad Queen's chess. The change in the rules meant that chess players had to adopt to a new playbook. Chess remained chess, and yet it became a completely different game. In our view, ladies and gentlemen, recent global shifts and changes require the development of a new gold playbook. We present you, dear readers, with a new set of rules and an updated game plan to ensure success on the investment chessboard. In chess, even a pawn can become a queen, and a queen can become a sacrificial lamb. But now let's look at the gold price first. In the first quarter of 2024, gold broke through all resistance levels and recorded new all-time highs, much to the dismay of Western financial investors who remain seated on the sidelines. We have identified 10 key points of the new gold playbook. We discussed them in detail in the more than 400 pages of this year's In Gold We Trust report. And now I would like to give you some examples for this change in the gold playbook. According to the old playbook, the gold price should have fallen significantly in an environment of sharply rising real interest rates. But nevertheless, the gold price broke out from its long-term resistance levels and has set new all-time highs. In the old paradigm, it was unthinkable that the gold price would trend firmer during a phase of sharply rising real interest rates. This breakdown in the long-term correlation between gold and real rates clearly indicates that it's time to adopt to the new Gold Playbook. In the new playbook, Western financial investors are no longer the marginal buyers. Central banks and the steadily growing demand from emerging markets, especially China, have for the first time been able to more than compensate for weak demand from the West. While there was a gold drain out of the US in the 1960s, the global East is currently experiencing a true gold gain. Central banks have put a floor under the gold price. But it's not only central bank demand, but also private gold demand from emerging markets that is becoming more and more important. To quantify the significant impact of gold demand in Asia, gold jewelry demand in 2023 totaled 2,000 tons of gold, and 65% of this demand came from China, India, and the Middle East alone. For private gold investor demand, such as bars and coins, more than 50% came from these three markets. Therefore, our thesis that the gold price is increasingly being made in Shanghai, Mumbai, and in Dubai, and less so in New York, London, and Zurich, is clearly confirmed by the numbers. While central banks and investors in emerging markets are increasingly learning to appreciate gold, Western financial investors continue to act according to the old playbook. In fact, 71% of US advisors have little to no gold allocation, so gold is less than 1% of their portfolio. We also see a similar lack of interest in gold mining stocks, which have largely lost the trust of investors in view of their disappointing performance. But a second wave of inflation or the overdue US recession could prompt them to rethink their approach. Current global debt levels are not sustainable and should be of concern to any prudent investor. Compared to January 2020, the eve of the COVID-19 pandemic, for example, US debt has risen by more than 11 trillion US dollars, or around 50%. And there seems to be no end in sight to the debt binge. In the US, it is only a matter of time before interest payments become the largest category in federal budget, with federal interest payments expected to reach $1 trillion by 2029 at the latest. Therefore, one of our central theses of recent years is now being slowly confirmed. Government bonds are no longer the anti-fragile portfolio foundation they have been for the last 40 years. The US 10-year Treasury is down more than 22% and the 30-year almost 50% in nominal terms since 2020. If one factors in inflation, it obviously was an even greater loss in real terms. And our analysis finds that the decisive factor for the negative correlation between stocks and bonds was low inflationary pressure and the decreasing inflation volatility during the Great Moderation. We have been predicting the end of the 60-40 portfolio for years, and this seems to be playing out as expected. Could now bonds hand over the scepter to gold? We'll see. This year, we again focus on the topic of de-dollarization, as China, Russia, and its allies are attempting to move away from using the US dollar in bilateral trade. Many questions remain. Will China be successful, and how will the West respond? Could we see a gold-backed currency emerge on the world stage? This is a global geopolitical chess game playing out over many years, and the stakes have never been higher. We feature a dedicated chapter on this topic, as well as a fabulous debate between my dear friends Louis Vicent Garf and Brent Johnson, who are some of the most renowned experts on this topic. This year, we also feature a wide range of other topics in the report, which includes: we take a closer look at gold in the Arabic world, focusing on the highly dynamic Dubai gold market that is now responsible for 25% of global gold trade. We feature an in-depth look at calendar anomalies and how they can be exploited. We feature an analysis of Roy Chestrom's work, The Golden Constant, and how gold performs during inflationary deflation. We feature a chapter on the possibility of asteroid and seabed mining. And of course, we take a deep dive into the silver market and discuss the fourth annual supply deficit and the enormous impact of solar demand. And last but not least, there are also chapters about the valuation of the gold mining space, digital gold, Bitcoin. And as always, we feature a detailed technical analysis of the gold price. Ladies and gentlemen, as the global geopolitical chess game continues, the new Gold Playbook suggests that investors give precious metals and real assets a higher weighting in their portfolios, as long as there is no sustained stabilization in the development of debt and inflation. Accordingly, we present you a modified version of the traditional 60-40 portfolio, which is derived from the new Gold Playbook. This consists of 60% equities and bonds and 40% alternative asset classes. These include physical gold, silver, mining stocks, commodities, but also Bitcoin. We then present our new proprietary Incrementum active Aurum signal. The signal has been developed to determine the optimal time to adjust gold exposure in your portfolio. Attentive readers of our gold studies will already be familiar with our distinction between safe haven gold in the form of physical gold and, on the other hand, performance gold, such as gold and silver mining stocks. As you know, we advocate an active investment strategy when dealing with mining stocks. Like in a good playbook, the signal determines when it is appropriate to become more offensive and when it is time to take a more defensive approach to gold exposure. Our model has performed exceptionally well in backtesting, while a passive strategy has achieved a performance of around 470% since 1971. Our Incrementum active Aurum signal strategy achieved a performance of over 7,000%. We're pretty excited to see how it will perform in the future, obviously. And lastly, we are sticking to our gold price forecast of $4,800 by the end of 2030, which we presented in the In Gold We Trust report 2020. Now, $4,800, that might sound outrageous to many. However, achieving this price target requires an annualized return of just under 12%. By way of comparison, the return in the 2000s was over 14% per annum, compared with around 27% per annum in the 1970s. If gold were to stay exactly on track of our model, the price target for the end of 2024 is $2,660. Ladies and gentlemen, year after year, the In Gold We Trust report strives to be the world's most recognized, the most widely read, and the most comprehensive analysis on gold. We thank you for your interest and the trust you place in our analysis. Special thanks again to our premium partners. Without their support, it wouldn't be possible to make the In Gold We Trust report available totally free of charge. In addition to the annual publication of our In Gold We Trust report in 4 languages, we publish our monthly Gold Compass, as well as ongoing information on our In Gold We Trust homepage at ingoldwetrust.report, where you can also subscribe to receive the report totally free of charge. Now, we invite you on our annual tour de force and hope that you enjoy reading our 18th In Gold We Trust report as much as we enjoyed writing it. Many thanks for your interest, and remember, in gold we trust. Thank you very much.